Okay. I have started the stream. And
Yep. Fingers, toes, eyes, legs crossed. Yes, you are live.
how about that shit?
Oh, God, yes.
And don't blame us for this shit. It's YouTube has changed the code, but
They're not.
Terry needs needs oxygen
They're
again.
not seeing us yet.
They will be. So we'll see. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. And Terry's off of here. So YouTube changed the code on us again tonight, and you can never figure that out till you hit.
Go slow. Go slow.
If anybody tells me any other shit to do tonight, I'll be in there. Okay, are we good?
Can you guys hear us okay?
Oh God, there's Chuck. That's always a you're on. Chuck is always the voice of this shit. No echo. Okay, I can see you now. All clear. Okay.
We're so sorry. We, Don and Terry got on here earlier today to make sure that we weren't going to have any problems, and everything worked out just perfect. So Don restarted the computer. We were not worried about tonight. And something about YouTube changes the codes every once in a while. And they changed the codes again. So we apologize. For our new subscribers that are just on here, we really live out in the boondocks. We're surrounded by water on 3 sides. And we have high winds. The only internet we can get here is that flippin' HughesNet, which it ain't worth a shit, but it's all we can get. So on Sundays, it's our
Calm down.
it's our favorite time because we love being on here with you guys. But damn, it's aggravating. So we apologize.
I picked up a sea duck rig today. I'll tell you about that later from a guy. And he said the only reception he can get, he's down, is for him and his wife to go out on their boat dock.
Really?
Yes.
Even on their phones?
Yes, they have to go out in the boat dock to get reception. So, it's the Eastern Shore of Maryland. I can't control the shit, but this was a YouTube goon up. Okay, is everybody fine? And nothing more than a bag of dicks. That's a good one. 2 thumbs up. Okay, fine. Okay, so let's just do this thing. Let's just do this because we have not been on here for a while. I did a radio show in Canada. I think I talked about it on a video. And I said, if Eddie Gallagher loses his trident, Trump is just going to give it back to him. And that guy texted me the next day, and he made reference to Nostradamus that Trump had tweeted that he was getting it back. Well, today there was a little bit of backlash or something that Trump might not do that stuff. And Tim Palator,
The attorney for Eddie Gallagher.
Eddie's attorney, who we're close friends with, likes bouncing stuff off of me. And he asked me about Eddie giving up his trident as a solution to all this. Fed up with it. They're going to take it anyhow. It seemed there was a little bit of backpedaling that was going on. And I said, oh, hell yeah. He wouldn't be the first guy. Just walk into the captain's office. He didn't even have to go into Admiral Green's office and say, I'm done. You don't even have to have, the trident is just a hunk of metal that we buy at the exchange. I mean, that's all it is. When you're revoking something, you're revoking the NEC. The Navy Enlisted Classification Code 5326. And Tim had said as well, it's not like they're revoking your pilot's license as a jet pilot in the Navy. I mean, what's he going to do? Go attack ships as a civilian? And I said, no. How about that? How about that? How about you throw out the first blow that they never see coming? Because Eddie could be retired already. and they're only keeping him around, extended his active duty time to take his trident, and they were most certainly had the odds stacked against him, and it was just even terrible to hear, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Fuck it. Go in there and tell him you're done. Retire and put this all behind you. And if you haven't heard the news tonight, apparently the Secretary of Defense fired the Secretary of the Navy and said this op is fucking over. Leave that boy alone. So that shit just came out. Palator confirmed it. And I was just talking to him on the phone before we went live. And I said, you know, this Secretary of the Navy shit, it's just this figurehead stuff. It's just a figurehead. The only decent Secretary of the Navy we ever had was Webb. He was a Marine Corps officer. He got a Navy Cross. And he was going to build the 600-ship Navy and came damn close to it. He really cared. And I said, they might as well put the ambassador to Albania up there, because you don't have to know shit about the Navy. You don't have to give a shit about the Navy. You don't have to do any of that. And he said, it's funny you say that, because the next Secretary of the Navy is the ambassador to Norway. And he's a retired admiral. And I said, well, that changes everything.
I can't see with the rain.
That's right. Yeah, it appears that op is over. You're out, and Trump ain't going to back down from that. So whether you're a Democrat, a liberal, a Republican, or whatever, you have got to admire that. So, yeah, op over. How about them apples?
We are a little bit tired.
Yeah,
We have had a very busy weekend, and I'll tell you, we apologize for something else. We got like little to no footage of these hunts. It was so fast and furious. Don can only be one place at a time, and he said when he came back in for the first day, he said, I just can't do this shit without Terry. He missed Terry having that camera going out there, so there wasn't a lot of footage of the shots being taken, but the boys had a really good time, and what a great group of guys down here. We had Robert down here off of the website, and he was just wonderful, and he had to miss out on the first night. It wasn't a big deal, but just to go to the dinner. He and his wife are in the adoption process, and they've been taking these classes, so the first night we left him behind in the barn, and he had to take the final test, and it was by Skype or FaceTime or something, and he passed with flying colors, so hopefully they'll be able to adopt their little baby soon. And James is just a barrel of fun. He just grinned from the time he got here. He had a headache a time or two while he was here.
We were boozing it up.
Last night was the last night, and Greg ended up going with the boys and Don over to a big outdoor picnic that they have, and they do this whole ceremony thing. And so Greg called, and he said, you know, the boys have talked me into going tonight. I think I'll just go. And I said, well, just come and stay here. I'll be the designated driver. So we got everybody back safely, and Greg and I stayed up for just a few cocktails. And I was in the living room turning all the lights off, and I noticed that the light going up the stairs was on. And I thought, well, he's left the light on. So I just killed the lights and came in here and got ready for bed. And in a few minutes, I heard commotion in this other bedroom downstairs. And I went in there and said, what the hell's going on? And he said, we've lost power upstairs. We've blown a fuse or something. There's no power. His drunk ass didn't even try to flip a switch. So he packed up all his stuff and moved down here. It was funny. I guess it had to have been here. But it was pretty funny. Too much testosterone.
I have got too much shit to talk about tonight. I'm not off this Eddie Gallagher thing.
Okay.
And I want to talk about adopting again. We have been considering adopting a 19-year-old Russian girl. And I'm meeting a lot of resistance on this end, and I don't know why. Everybody needs a home. We got a beautiful place down here. I mean,
yeah. I don't think we'd pass the adoption test. You'd probably show up with a rum and coke for the interview. Don't think we'd make it.
I don't think we would either. So, okay, there we go. Yeah, I got to get Terry. So I got to get Terry up here. I went out the first day on the boat, and as soon as I started filming, the camera said no memory card, and I went, oh my God, there was no memory card. And I took the other GoPro that I had, and I said I'm fine with the GoPro, but it has a lighted screen on the back, which drains even more battery power. So I shot a quick video, and I put it in my pocket, and when I pulled it out a half hour later, of course, that was dead. And so thank God for Robert, who was taking some pictures, but we shot a lot. It was really, really good hunt. And the next day we were here shooting ducks, and it was total chaos. Between working warrior and trying to keep these guys in ducks, there's just no, I just can't do it. I can't do it. So I didn't get, I got a lot of pocket. If you want to see the inside of my fuzzy pocket, that's all the footage that I got. There might be some sound to it, but I didn't get shit. Not shit. So.
Donko, I will try to dig out a picture of Don with a shaved head. I don't have a picture of him with a shaved head going into boot camp, but I do have a picture of him with a shaved head going into buds. So, on his motorcycle, his little Honda.
Yep. Somebody took a picture of me in buds running. So, yeah, I got a Baldwin. I think we got it around here somewhere.
Maybe Terry, you could think about coming down here in December when Herman and Capo and the boys are coming down here so that you can get some footage. They all love you, but we don't do a very good job. Don doesn't do a very good job without me on trips because he's just like a kid and I have to make sure he's got all his shit together. And we don't do very good filming without Terry anymore. It's too much happening.
No, and I only think that because I've ramped up my game. I do. I think that's because I used to do some decent videoing, but now I'm just all business. There's no goofing around out there. I'm like a little Adolf out there, you know. Shoot them ducks. But that sea duck hunt is a keeper. I will tell you this, and I don't take any offense to it. But Robert, that came down here, said after we went sea duck hunting, and then we went mallard hunting out here, he goes, I do the mallard hunt first and do the sea duck hunt second. And I went, okay. I know what you're talking about. So that was some good fun. If it was a little bit rougher and a little bit colder out there, it might have changed that thing because that's some tough hunting out there. But we had a good captain. He knew all my family. He runs a fleet of sea ducks. His other captain went to school with my brothers and sister. So we're rocking.
All my girls on here, I have some news. I've lost 37.5 pounds doing keto. So I still got a way to go, but Don and Greg are starting keto with me in the morning. Both of the boys want to give it a shot. So, excuse me, I'm heading into the store first thing tomorrow and getting him loaded up, and we're going to give this thing a shot and see how it works. I'm excited.
Sure get you there, girl.
We're going to see how it works.
Yep, we're going to. Somebody asked me something. The latest on the Fody Admiral. I knew it was coming. I told Randy Travis, I said, it's only a matter of time. If he doesn't do it to us here, he's going to do it. It's classified thing. And I don't know what to make of Arlene, except she's just stupid beyond words. But when you're with somebody that long that you've spent all that time with, and you tend to believe that shit. And so the latest intel coming back is Arlene is telling everyone that he is classified. That the only reason he told Randy that I'm a liar and a phony and a fake is because they were going to throw him in a dark cell somewhere. The U.S. government I was going to throw him in a dark cell for letting out the fact that he is the Men in Black. And she believes it. So now she's on that roll.
Well, I don't know if she believes it or not. They pull that website down. They close their Facebook.
It all plays into that. It all plays into that. We got to shut this down. I don't know how they found out. It's all I talk too much. But let's shut it down because the government is after me. And he told her, the satellites above your house, I mean, that I put up there to make sure you're safe, they are on us. They are on us, but good. And she believes that.
Hi, Bosun.
Bosun, where's the bosun? I am bosun. I have socks on, and they're soaking wet because I'm sitting in a puddle of Jack and Coke.
Oh, Lord.
It's my day off here, and of course the Jack and Coke went over with Warrior, and so yeah, I'm not far from Japan in that sense. What else are we doing here?
We don't know what we're doing.
Oh, they're already reading the NTSB report of Bernath. I read it and was just, when you're exceeding the RPMs of the airplane and you're exceeding the safe airspeed and your wing falls off, and the closing bit on that thing was his PTSD. I don't know how many antidepressants he was on, but the PTSD.
4 or 5 antidepressants.
Clogged arteries.
And mental health issues.
Oh, mental health issues and all that stuff. But they made mention at the closing of that thing was that he was outed by a guy for being a military phony, and his wife, what did they say? The wife, they were talking about us. I don't know what the fuck that has to do with an NTSB report, because I never did a fucking thing to that guy for a year. His repeated attacks. Oh, I'm going to write the NTSB, that guy that did that, and wonder why you would include something that stupid in an NTSB report when you were on such a nice roll about his yaw rate and his stabilizers and his carburetor and all that shit. Why you would include that at the end of a guy I never did a fucking thing to, and put her in it as well. No.
Boy, that took a long time to get that report back. Do you think that's normal for it to take a year and a half or whatever it's been?
Yeah.
It is? That's normal?
A little bit. He was meaningless. He didn't have a pilot's license because he couldn't get one because he was, and they mentioned that in there. He would have never gotten a pilot's license because he's on too many medications and depression and all that. So he gets a sport pilot license. And I don't know who's a sport pilot out there, but I hope they revoke all your qualifications over this Bernath issue and make you guys go through all the same shit. So, what's the bottom line? Dan Bernath killed himself. He rolled that plane over in the Everglades. They didn't make any mention that he owed $1.2 million to the American Legion. They took all his shit. There was no way he was getting out of that, and he just got released from the nut house. So all they do is make mention of that. And if you can imagine that, Bernath started that fight, but his back was against the wall. There was nowhere he was going to go. Nowhere else he was going to go. So what's he do? But they make mention of us. The guys that had nothing to do with it. I didn't have anything to do with it. John Lilia, This Ain't Hell, was the one that posted Bernath up. But Bernath, if you guys haven't cutting this, I'm going to get off of this thing. John Lilia admitted to me that he had nothing better to post that day. Bernath was on the corner of his desk, and there wasn't much to it, but he decided that day to post that insane attorney up as a military phony. And I never thought Bernath had done anything. Okay, he photoshopped his face on a fucking UDT guy and claimed to be an honorary chief petty officer. But I never said a thing about Bernath. He wasn't claiming to be a SEAL. It was none of my business. I have bigger fish to fry. But Bernath decided he was going to take down the Stolen Valor world, and who's at the top of that thing? Who better to start fucking with than Don Shipley, who did nothing to him? So,
Well, and then Joe Cryer is out on his own recognizances, but he has got to go back to court, I think, on the... I thought they said the 22nd. Is that of December or what?
I'll be there. I thought I was going to miss it, but they've let him out, and I'm going to be right behind him in court, cheering him on.
And so that report also came out bringing up mental health issues. So that's what we've been saying all along. You know, Bernath had some serious mental health issues. He was insane. Joe Cryer is insane. He's got terrible mental health issues. He killed his dog in his own backyard. I think somebody wrote up, I don't know, about stabbing his dog to death. And so, 2 down, and the only other one is Wiggenfeld, and he's just total nuts. So, usually in the stolen valor world, people take it because they know deep down inside they're wrong. But every once in a while, you run up on some nut job, in this case, 3 nut jobs that knew each other, befriended each other, and they're all nuts. So... that's the way that was.
It's like what do you call them? Cocktail peanuts or something. What do you call the box of
mixed nuts?
Mixed nuts. Mixed nuts, that's what they are. I don't flipping know. Removed before flight, yes, his wing came off. And I guess that's what you do by exceeding the RPMs greatly and the speed of the aircraft by like 40 knots. So it's clear. We always knew that. He augured that thing in.
Yeah.
Just like his brother did.
You're right, K9 Lover. I mean, I couldn't imagine in a million years, no matter what, stabbing my pet to death. I couldn't even imagine, no matter what. I couldn't do that.
Joe's fine when he's on his medication.
Well,
he's not bad when he's off his medication. Joe just got tired of that dog for shitting on the carpet or something, and he pulled a Joe. I don't buy all that. Joe's got some loose screws, but he is lucid. He knows what he does. Joe just got tired of that dog, and I hope they throw him in the flipping hoosegow. He's already been in there for like 3 months, anyhow, writing with a rubber pencil. And maybe they gave him Bernath's bed in there. I don't know. Is this the best we're going to do tonight? Can we get off of this shit?
Yeah, you brought it up. Sure, we'll get off of it.
I think you brought it up.
No, I don't think so. Who brought it up?
Okay,
They'll correct you.
Tell us who.
They'll correct you who brought up Bernath.
I was talking about Eddie Gallagher.
And then you started talking about Bernath.
And I think, go ahead, guys.
Who was it? Who brought it up? Tell the truth. We really lucked out and had some good weather when the guys were down here, but we did get some rain, which needed, and I guess that that Warrior did a really good job out there. So Don was all proud of him. He wasn't pissed off at him this time. Yep, The Walking Dead. Is this the last night? Something tells me that either tonight or next Friday is the season end of that thing. So Don's starting to get a little bit tired of it. You know, Don would never go to bed before The Walking Dead was over. Now he's starting to say, you can have it, I'm going to bed. So he's getting tired.
They got to do something. They got to start bringing them back to life. They got to start growing bodies back again or something. And get the crawlers. If they don't have a baby on that show or a toddler in a little, that little tray that they eat on and pull themselves across the floor, I'm fucking not watching it anymore.
That'd be too much for me. I couldn't handle it.
Okay. No. We're not bothering these dogs. Warrior's sound the fuck asleep. He had to retrieve a whole 10 ducks the other day, and he's gone. But he did save the day. They were out there in the river. So I left the guys back there shooting, just don't shoot me. And Warrior went and saved the day. So everybody's exhausted around here. When we have people down, when there's all that excitement, commotion, Warrior licking everybody, everybody's asleep. They're not even in here. The doors are wide open. None of them are in here. Nope.
So I got to give a shout out to my little nephew, Garrett. Everybody that's a regular on here knows Garrett and Gavin and Debbie and Dennis from Tennessee. And a week from today, my little Bassett is getting married. So everybody in Tennessee's all excited. I was hoping to be there so bad, but we got them a cabin to get married in. They're all excited. My sister's jumping out of her skin, the first one of the boys to marry. So we got to wish him well, and I'm sure they'll be sending me pictures. I'll post them up.
Where is that thing of Shelby's up there talking about the warrior snoring? You shot a good video of him doing that.
Oh gosh, he snored so loud. I mean, he just climbed up on that couch, muddy and wet, and just laid his head on Greg's hat and started snoring immediately.
He just does his own thing. He will take, and Shelby saw him do that, the path of least resistance. So when I tell him to go, there's a duck out there. He starts looking around at where he wants to enter the water from. And he went around and found a point where he wanted to, went and picked up the duck, and instead of bringing it straight back to me, he took it all the way around the berm, walked on the berm to bring it back, and just as happy as he can be. That's what I've discovered about Warrior. He loves having that duck in his mouth. So he retrieved 3 of them out in the river while the boys were behind us, and he had that third one, and I got it. That's when I really got it. I'll carry these 2, and I'll let you have that one. And he carried it all the way back with that tail going just as fast as he could.
Rick, you spilled your CBD in your hookah? Oh, honey, you've got to hold that thing with 2 hands. Be careful. Look at... Not a fan of marriage. Poor Greg.
Poor Greg.
Poor Greg. Oh, Lord. Somebody says they're down to stems and seeds. That's why we've got what a bunch we've got on here.
Come over. And we'll hook you up.
Oh, no. Oh.
Give me your gummies or some shit. I don't know.
How many geese is it? 1 a day? That's what they're asking?
I go to that Grand National thing, and one of the guys was telling me he's got a place up in Canada, and they went up there for a week hunting trip, and they were shooting 40 geese and ducks a day, and just talking all that shit about it. And this is their final place. This is where they stop. Goose hunting capital of the world, right here. And they cannot get their shit together. I don't know why Canada allows it. And then New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware all have different regulations, and we're restricted down here. I wish they would just, for the betterment of everything, get on something reasonable and stop shooting 40 fucking geese a day up in Canada and all those fucking mallards that we're restricted to down here. I don't know why. Maybe the former Secretary of the Navy can take over the Department of Natural Resources and straighten that fucking shit up. Now that he's out of a fucking job, maybe put him in charge, and somebody will get we're like on the shitty end of the stick down here or something. You know, we're getting the scraps, and by the time they get down here, like, oh, well, you can't shoot too many of them. Yes, I know they do. Well, whatever.
Terry, marriage is a great institution, but he wants to live in an institution. Oh, God.
Because we're loaded
Terry,
with geese.
Terry and Greg need to take a vacation together.
Where's Gundog from? What the fuck's he talking about?
I think,
Is that in Canada?
Yeah, I think Gundog is from Canada.
Share the fucking wealth, man. Why are you shooting all your own Canadian geese down here? I get it, but it is really fucked up when it ends down here. So if you guys would, California Daily, okay, you guys are running my skirt up. Why don't you chill out up there in Canada, shooting all those geese before they migrate down here and we're restricted? No, we go up to Canada and kick the fucking ever-living shit out of you. If I turned Trump on you, we would invade you fuckers and conquer you people in like no time. Take that Canadian bacon and shove it right straight down your fucking goose-eating throats.
Do you
Don't
know
fuck
how
with us
many? Do
down
you
here.
know how many of our very, very, very good friends are Canadian? I mean, we have a shit ton of them.
It's what's it like? My best friend is black.
No, but we do. We have so many Canadians that have been through our courses so many times, and
We
we
don't
just
like goose shooting Canadians. Fucking shooting 40 geese a day. There's something wrong with that.
daily bag limit
She's-
30.
She's kicking me under the table.
Boy, I just don't like you much today. You're just an ice hoe.
I've been hunting in the cold.
Been hunting another bottle of booze is what you've been hunting.
Well, I've had my first screwdriver here a little while ago.
Poor Don woke up this morning. The boys were still here, and he had about that much Clamato juice. I was anxious to see what he was going to do with it. I would have just thrown it away. But he made a Bloody Mary that big this morning. That's all he had. It was so funny.
I meant to have something. I know I had a bunch more shit to talk about, but the Eddie Gallagher thing topped all that. Now we're on the...
Oh, you're the one that sent me the pictures. I didn't know. I don't have everybody's name logged into my phone, so people do that to me. But you sent me the pictures of those puppies today, and I was blowing it up, and I couldn't figure out what they were. They were just little fuzzballs. He's got German Shepherd, and I can't say that word. How do you say that word? What the seals use?
Malamute.
They would keep
Malamute. I don't know.
Malamute.
Malamoy. I don't know. I can't. I know the name if I didn't have to read it. Yeah. I was speaking of gun dogs. A guy donated his sea duck rig to me. He heard what we were doing up at the Grand National, and gave me this huge sea duck rig. And they're just strings of decoys that go behind the boat. And I went over there today to talk to him about it. And he had this little skinny pointer. And I asked him about the dog. He said, I've had that dog for 2 weeks.
Oh,
And he welled up. And he's an older guy. And he hunts everywhere. And I mean everywhere. And he was out in, I think he said, South Dakota pheasant hunting. And he said, I never saw it coming. My dog, he's had for so long, a pheasant ran, and the dog went after it, and the guy next to him shot his dog and killed it.
an accident, of course. But could you imagine how freaking bad you would feel if you killed someone's dog? Oh my God, what would you say?
He was all tore up.
That'd be terrible.
All tore up. So, just one of those accidents. You don't shoot at running pheasants when there's dogs in the field. But we also, I read not long ago that people don't shoot ducks sitting on the water, and they don't shoot pheasants that are running, but the pheasants are evolving into runners because all the pheasants that fly get shot, and so pheasants are somehow genetically being bred to run instead of flying because you kill all the flyers. And so they were encouraging killing running pheasants, and they run pretty fast, like shooting a fucking raptor or something.
Hello, Cuz from Alabama. I'm happy to have you on here. That sounds so good. I don't know if you saw, I put a picture up the other day. We always had fried cornbread. Just so good. And there was a recipe, I put it up the other day, and they had cooked collard greens and mustard greens together, and they had 2 pieces of fried cornbread with them greens in the middle. So that's not on my keto diet, but that's going to be coming up next. That looked so good to me for some reason. But yeah, we love greens. Malinois. Yeah.
I knew it was something like that.
Thank you.
Tat for tat, shoot your friend. That's as good a story as ever came out of Grand National last night. There was some retired state cop that had done an awful lot for the Grand National. One of the guys was giving him an obituary, a toast to everyone that they had dropped ducks across the river, and he went out. He's telling this story up there. Went out and was recovering those ducks, and one of the guys in the blind shot him.
His son.
His son shot him in the ass while he was recovering those ducks. His back was turned and just pulled down on the duck and shot him right in the ass. And he went nuts. And then he got back in the blind, and the next duck that went out there, he told his son, I'm not going out there, you're going out there. And when his son got out there to get that duck, he said, turn around and bend over, and then he shot him in the ass. And then everybody was like, oh my God, no way. And he was like, yeah, he shot him in the ass. I'm going to teach you. So
do I hang Christmas lights on my house? Are you shitting?
I love hanging Christmas
He
lights.
wouldn't hang up the first light if his life depended. Never has. In our 38 years of marriage, we have never had outside lights. So I do all the decorating, but now I think I've got up 5 Christmas trees, just little different trees. And I did go and buy me one of those lights that looks like snow and moves around. So I drag an extension cord and I plug that thing up, and it makes light shine on my house. That's as good as I'm going to get being married to Don Shipley. He ain't a light hanger, that's for sure.
I will never hang a Christmas light. And people just want to drive in your driveway when you do that. And we don't like people coming up there.
Nobody wants to drive in our driveway.
That's right. Don't do it.
But we're having some friends come in from Virginia Beach, so I'm excited to have them down. Doug and Becky, you've met them both on here. So we're going to have a nice, relaxing Christmas. And I bought a turkey and everything, but Don said, shit, it's just us. So I think we're just going to go out and have Thanksgiving, aren't we? Is that what you decided?
Eat sea duck and sushi.
No, we're not having sea duck. But the boys did like that. They said it was good.
Yeah, that's okay. That's good.
Greg always talks about how shitty it is and how bad it stinks. He's like, I can't wait to smell your house after you cook that. But when Greg came in last night and he tasted the sea duck that the guys had cooked, he even said, you made a believer out of me. He even thought it was pretty good.
Now, they trick fuck Greg. They put duck on both plates, and they said, tell us which one is the mallard and tell us which one is the sea duck. And Greg tasted them both and tasted the other one. He goes, that's the mallard. And he goes, nah, they're both sea duck. And, so Greg was shook my hand, bowed out gracefully, and said, that's good. Yeah.
You have to do that. Well, that's what we would be. If Don ever hung lights up, they would stay up until the day we died. We'd be those people that never took the lights down.
My dad never did it. I'm not going to do it. Up there doing that. I think Canine Lover asked about the Remington. No. Robert showed up with 2 guns, a 10 gauge. I don't think he ever used it in his own over and under, and he was lethal with that. And James is blind, and
In one eye.
I've got to get so mad. Woot on here. Woot. Who's the Woot? He always
Beebe.
says Beebe. Eric Beebe donated 4 Versamaxes, and 2 of them were left-handed guns. And he took one of those Versamaxes out there. And so the captain of that boat, when I talked to him, he knew my father. He says, your father an airline captain? I said, yeah, he sure is. He's like, oh, my God, I know you guys. You know, our family's from here. And he said, whatever you do, don't come out here with any shitty shells. Do not bring shit shells on my boat. So I asked him what he wanted, man. I spent a fortune on getting these. We were shooting, not blind sides, black clouds. Black clouds, BBs with 7 shot in them. It's a new shell that they've made. It's 7 shot and BB in there, and we were daubing them. And they did real well. And I suggested, because I'd never been sea duck hunting, I thought we needed full chokes in the gun. So everybody changed their chokes into full chokes that night. And we got out there, and he goes, as long as you guys don't have full chokes in your gun, we're good. I was like, oh, shit. Improved cylinder, modified. But he wanted those for guys that are not very good shots. And turned out all of us were really good shots. And it didn't matter. Get that full choke in there and knock them down. But those birds are extraordinarily hard to kill. We shot more shots at cripples than we did actually shooting birds. They are tough. And he'd chase them in the boat and we'd wrench them in. So we did it.
If you're right about that guy falling, I read that on the internet. Some young father was up hanging Christmas lights on his house and he fell and he is messed up. He is very, very, very hurt. So,
Gundog is shooting black clouds. And my geese in Canada, you guys hit them with a baseball bat up there, from what I'm told. They send them down there. I'm going to get off.
So somebody asked my favorite thing to cook for Thanksgiving, to cook and eat, and my favorite thing is cornbread dressing. Dressing and stuffing are two different things, and in most of the world, people make stuffing. You know, they put it inside the bird or in a pan, but in the South, everybody makes dressing, and it's made from cornbread crumbled up and chicken broth and chopped up celery, and you bake it in a big Pyrex dish, and it has a very soft consistency to it. It's not made out of light bread like most stuffing is, so that's my favorite thing.
You know, Captain Mike has sent great shells. The sea ducks are something different. The ranges are out there a little bit further, and as Greg says, because they're sea ducks and they... Okay, should I do it?
What?
The duck lecture.
No.
I'm going to. You got two basic kinds of ducks. You got puddle ducks, like you see in the park. They're mallards. They're called dabblers, and they just push their butt up in the air and they feed off the bottom. They feed in a foot and a half water kind of max. They can get down there if they want to, but they don't like to. And you get sea ducks, diving ducks, who go down hundreds of feet to feed. And he pulled up he was like, this is why our anchor's dragging. He pulled up a big rock on his anchor that was filled with barnacles. And he said, that's what they eat right there. Eating barnacles. They're tough ducks that dive, and their legs are further back on their body. They don't walk very well on land, and they prefer not to even go on land except when they're nesting. And they are nothing. If you are a duck that never gets out of the water, you are just, as Greg said, you are just an insulated cushion of that down and feathers, man, and you've got a lot of shit to penetrate those things. And that's why they put the 7-shot in there, to get something in the head and knock that bird down. They are tough as nails. So we were taking some really close shots, really good decoying birds, and they were still hard to knock over. So
Bethany and Bassett's on here. Hi, Bethany.
Where's he at?
Right there.
Oh,
Bethany and
my
Bassett
God.
are in the
Oh,
truck,
my
I
God.
think. They're watching this, so I'm so excited for you guys getting married. You better send me a bunch of damn pictures so I can post them up here so everybody can see them. I'm sorry I can't be there, baby. I would be.
I can't
would
believe
be.
she hasn't thrown him out yet.
Well, she ain't married to him yet. I'll give her about a week after she marries that little shit to get rid of him. You can come down here and live with us anytime you want to, Bethany. Stay in the barn.
She needs glasses. Poor girl. Poor girl.
Oh, Lordy. So, Herman was on here wanting to know about Greg being able to swing by when you guys are up here for the hunt. And absolutely, I guess we'll just move Greg into the barn with you guys or upstairs here. So, will not be able to drive home after being down here with you all. And the boys, James and Robert that were just here, we just happened to be sitting at the kitchen table, and the topic of moonshine came up. And they didn't know where they could get any good moonshine. And Don was like, I'm going to hook you up. My family just so happens
I don't even know how it came up.
to gift us with moonshine. And so we had some, and Don had taken a case and putting it out in the garage so it was nice and cold when he brought it in here. And they had never tasted the apple pie moonshine. And oh my God, that was a hit. They absolutely loved that. So we loaded them up. I guess I shouldn't say that. They get caught for transporting illegal booze across the border. Hopefully they're already home by now. But thank you, Bassett, for that. The boys absolutely loved it.
Yeah, they loved it a little too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know how that came up. Robert was on about
Something about moonshine.
Moonshine. I was like, moonshine? Really? Psst.
Yeah, it was good. But we got
That's
a
the
peach
secret.
one that we can't get open.
I got to get one of those. I can't get the
A
lid
gripper.
off a ball char. I'm going to have to drive a knife into it and put it into something else. We can't get that off. So. Winchester 3 shot. Yeah, it's all good duck loads. That's what we were shooting at the end of it. But not sea duck. He said, get the BB, get these birds down, and I'm glad we did. So goose number 2s I shoot out here, ducks number 3s.
Well, Terry's
What do you
already calling.
prefer?
Terry's calling. I call the upstairs. They're already fighting over who's going to get the upstairs.
Well, that guy
Oh,
gave
Lord.
me the sea duck rig, and then he showed me the boat he was using.
What kind of boat was it?
It's no different than that one. He goes right off James Island.
Then ours, our boat.
We're sea ducking.
We're not sea ducking in
We
my
are.
pretty little boat.
Yes, we are.
Why can't you sea ducking like a John boat?
No. I know what I'm talking about. You don't. But I got, God, I don't know how many. They come in those big trash cans. And that's why I figured out what he did. That's why I figured out what the window pulls, what are these big hunks of steel that are out there?
Window pulls.
To keep the windows closed or something. These big hunks of steel. They sell them at some of the old antique stores. That's what they used in the 1800s to keep the windows closed or open them up. Big long hunks that never fucking mind. And he attached those and threw them out of the back in this bucket and just fed out these decoys in a big trash can. So he gave me 6 trash cans full of sea duck rig.
That's cool. So, just so everybody will know, Shelby KR, that is Robert that was just down here. That came hunting. So, nobody's gonna know who you are. You need to change your name. But that's our Robert.
Change it to sea duck.
Yeah.
So,
Window sash. That's the name of it. The big metal thing.
out the bottles on us. There you go. There you go. Window sash. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got it. And his boat was no bigger than that. He goes right off James Island. Anyhow, Bassett, when you and your dad come down here, we're going sea duck hunting. I told that captain. That captain loved us out there. Captains on boats like that, he was not expecting that. He was not expecting really nice guys didn't trash his boat or bitch or whine or complain or do anything. You know, just breach through the boat. And when you do that to that captain like that, you know, he's going to give you more of that. And we were short, I think about 4 ducks. I mean, we'd about had enough or something, 4 or 5 ducks. We'd been out there for a little while. And I asked him, I said, Captain, are we about good to go? And he said, right good to go. And I said, I'll tell you what, let's give it 10 more minutes. And then we'll all go in. And he said, that's fine with me. Fine with me. And in that 10 minutes here, the hell they all came. It was just constant shooting. Ducks going everywhere. So we came out.
I'll tell you right now, I don't know how the hell anybody ever kills sea ducks. Robert was filming on his phone, and all of the guys had their legs spread, you know, like in the brace position. And the guns were just like this. I mean, that water was rough. I don't know how in the hell anybody hits a duck out there.
It's called, one of the guys talked about it up there, duck hunting on a trampoline.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're doing. You're moving. You can't even shoot a cripple going on the waves. It's tough, but we did good. So he was
Donko, yeah, I really do think that we will get Eddie down here, and I would hope to get Eddie and Palatori together down here for a hunt, but this has been going on for so long, and we certainly know what that's like because of the whole Bernath thing. When it's over in the news media, it's not over at home. I mean, you have just been through hell and back emotionally, financially, attorneys, questions, the media all up on you. And it's going to take that family a while to breathe. We were talking about it the other day, and I mean, it's been, I think, a year and a half or something since our ordeal, and we're just now getting to the point where we're sort of not looking over our shoulder. So I'm sure when it gets settled, Eddie and Palatori will be up here.
I've
Hopefully.
invited them up. I know those two are going to stay very close because Palator rescued him, and he really
Yeah.
did. And Palator's right across the bridge over here. He's definitely coming down because he's gone through the course 3 different times, and you get to know somebody really well for 2 weeks at a time when you go through the shit I was putting those guys through. He's an excellent guy.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I was, something come up the other day with that radio show, and I couldn't give him a good analogy. And I'm going to do the Georgia thing here. I'm going to write this down here real quick because I just thought of that. This isn't the first time this shit has happened. Military travesties that go on like that. And I could cite now several examples, but perhaps the worst was the captain of the USS Indianapolis that was sunk in World War II. And who thought this fucking brainstorm up when they court-martialed that guy? And, you know, the Jaws thing when they delivered the bomb and those guys, this mission was so secret, in the water for 5 days, I think, and losing all those guys to those sharks. It was a terrible thing. So what did they do for his court-martial? What did they do to him? They bring the captain of the Japanese submarine, after them fuckers surrendered, to his court-martial to testify. Yeah, that's what this country did to that guy. And because he was not zigzagging, which was a World War II tactic to avoid submarines. You're increasing the distance to wherever you're going by zigzagging, and he was not zigzagging. And to that sub-captain, the Japanese sub-captain's credit, he said it wouldn't have mattered. I had him. He wasn't going anywhere. But they court-martialed him. It was like court-martialing those SEALs. We're giving that flipping terrorist a fat lip. Yeah. So on to Georgia. I got to do a Georgia thing.
Sarge, just to answer your question, they did have a GoFundMe page. I don't know if they do now. If you happen to have a Facebook page, that would be where to go to find it. Eddie Gallagher.
Oh, I've always said, and it's true, based off the verifications I get from fake SEALs, Georgia is the #1 state in this nation for SEAL imposters, followed by Florida and Texas. And Atlanta, Georgia, where we just went for that admiral, is the hub of that. It's suburbs. And I just have it. Everybody down there is a phony. And that reporter asked me, I've never really been asked that. He said, why is that? And I didn't have an answer. I don't know. Something in the water. And you'll see it on the tape we're going to put up. Probably put it up tomorrow in the final cuts of this thing. And if you watch the interview with him at the end, where he was talking to his news channel, they asked him that, why is this the hub of fake activity? He said, I don't know. Well, I was talking to him yesterday when I saw that, where he was on the spot. I laid in here with my eyes open for a little while, and I was like, you know what? I think people in Georgia, Florida, and Texas are more skeptical of your bullshit military claims than the rest of the people in the United States. Perhaps you people in Pennsylvania just believe everything that's told to you, but those people, especially in Atlanta, perhaps that's what it is, that those people are just more skeptical of claims than actual phonies being down there. So, that's all.
Yes, that's a warrior snoring. Yes.
He just showed up. That's warrior snoring. So, that's it.
Yep.
What are we going to do later?
Watch The Walking Dead.
God damn, you put them eyeballs back in your head and quit shooting fucking lightning bolts at me. I'm just trying to, you know what?
The Bachelorette thing, I guess that's still on. It's think that they see the next one coming up, and it'll be starting here pretty soon. It is The Bachelor. So it's one guy with a whole bunch of girls. But the one that they've asked Dawn to be a part on is the one that will be shown after that. And it is one girl choosing among a whole bunch of guys. So that's the one Dawn will be going to film, the little mini Hell Night thing. Is putting all the guys through their paces. And I think they mentioned something about March or May or something of having him come out to L.A. and film. So,
it was March. Come out for a day and beat them. Okay. Probably find somebody in California to do that, but I said, I got specific with them, like how long, and to make sure they don't have some expectations that those guys are going to do that for a whole long time. And we did that with Paul Boyd on the Inside Edition. Paul wanted to come down and get his ass handed to him, and then he stopped us 10, 15 minutes into it. He goes, hey man, how long is this going on for? Off camera. It was like, okay dude, just suck it up a little bit. Look good for the camera. We won't go on that much longer. But yeah, we a couple of sets of push-ups and Paul Boyd was fucking over that shit.
I don't know. These guys are trying to impress a girl to be picked. They might really put out. They might do better than you think.
I just grind their gears. There's other ways of individually grinding gears or seeing whose personalities come out. I mean, all I got to do is put them in a push-up position and leave them there. Your personality is going to come out. We're going to see. I will separate the good guys from the bad guys real quick based off your temper of doing just that little bit of stuff. You guys start that whiny, squawky, crying ass shit, or you start flaring at the guy next to you. It's easy. So,
Day One Minecraft, hi. We're happy to have you on here. I'm glad you're a new member. And was the Rear Admiral one of the best bust? Right up there. Right up there, I would say. That pretty much went flawlessly. And as far as anybody that has really needed to be taken down, he really needed to be taken down for what he was doing to those young kids, giving them encouragement and promising them that he could do all this shit for him, and he couldn't do nothing. So I would say, yeah, that's right up at the top of one of Don's best busts, wouldn't you? Went pretty good.
When you watch his self-defense classes that he was teaching, holy dog shit. If you're not in the know, that guy's just setting you up to get the shit spanked out of you or cut up with a knife. I mean, you can't. There's no street fight, and trust me, I have experience in all this shit. That's why I really disliked a lot of martial arts type of grappling stuff, choke holding a guy, and you do this to him and you take him down on the floor of a bar. Okay, well now what are you going to do with him? You got him there. What are you going to let him promise you that he'll be good if you let him go, or you put an arm bar on somebody like that? And now what are you going to do with him? You got him there. And that knife thing he was teaching, when he thrusts at you, you turn and you grab. I'll tell you, man, you are going to get your shit carved up quick. But people don't react like that, especially when somebody's after you. When somebody is in a dark alley and they are planning on mugging you, or in a mall parking lot as you're entering your car with a bunch of Christmas gifts or something like that, they are jacked up. They are pumped. And that's all you are, is a target to them. Their adrenaline is up and they mean to win. And so, that girl that drops her groceries and arm bars this assailant or takes the knife, fucking bullshit, man. You need to haul your ass out. You are going to lose. And I've never liked that. And that's all we were ever taught in the SEAL team, was street fighting. Hurt somebody, put them down, keep them down. Just these simple things to really, put them down and keep them down. And it was none of that. I remember those old cop images of knife fighting where the guy you see the image of the guy coming down with a knife and the cop folds his arm and blocks the knife. Oh yeah? That's the way it's done? No. So he's an asshole for a lot of reasons. A lot of reasons. He was teaching bullshit stuff to people.
Goldsmith, you're right. The pyramid scheme guy that we went down and busted. We were actually contacted by a Iraqi interpreter that worked with the United States military. He's a great guy. He has written a book called The Terrorist Whisperer, and he has received all kinds of accolades and awards for that. And they actually are making a movie about his life. And his wife, very sweet American girl, she had met this guy and gone to a couple of those seminars, and she was interested in her and her husband investing in that thing, doing that. She didn't know it was a pyramid scheme, and so he went with her, and he heard the shit that guy was spewing about Navy SEAL and all of that shit, and he contacted Don, and we hopped in the car and went down there, and that was a good bust too, and that guy about shit. That was a good bust, and we still stay in touch with the terrorist whisperer to this day. He's a great guy. Well, I'm about ready to go watch my show.
We've got him up here. If you Google whisperer or terrorist, his video's coming up. What we did after this and after the bust, and to hear his story about being the last sergeant major in the Iraqi army because they had killed them all. He was it. I'm the last fucking sergeant major out there, and I'm gonna get it. But what was funny is he had an American wife, and I just think of this shit all the time. I don't know. And we had breakfast together, and he's got that Muslim thing going on, and she is shoving bacon down her throat as fast as she can. And at some point, he's going to kiss her that day. So I wasn't quite sure how that worked out, but it didn't seem to bother him a bit.
Nope.
I guess you can deviate from your beliefs and kissing your wife while she has a mouthful of bacon or something. But great guy, great gal. But yeah, they're not all that strict about it.
Scroll down just a little bit, please.
Oh God, Diane's,
well, we're glad that you're.
Oh my God, Diane's.
No, we're glad you're on here.
Diane's got me scrolling. This isn't going to go good. Here it goes, guys. This is the last we'll see of you. What?
Right there, just up a little bit. D-Man. He actually spoke to Bob a few times down there.
Oh, yeah?
The guy that you just busted, yeah. He said he was very brief about his service, but he did brag a lot about being in the CIA and being active on and off. So, oh, and his struggle with PTSD, yeah.
No, that was his. I spoke to him about his struggle with PTSD. My struggle with PTSD. Yeah, they're terrible. They will that's what really gets me, and a lot of why I do a lot of what I do, because these guys will sit next to, an Army guy or a Marine that's served in Iraq and Afghanistan in a VFW, and, when you're telling somebody, I hate to sound like that, when you're telling somebody you're a SEAL, your shit overshadows that kid's stuff. And it's all bullshit. This guy's got those combat deployments over there, and it's so tough being in the Army or Marine Corps. I mean, SEALs actually live kind of a life of Riley compared to that infantry grunt, and we admire them for that. But that drives me insane, that guy that is just a total phony who will one-up your stories, and you were actually there doing it.
Yeah, BB, I agree. And I would like to get, there are 3 Iraqi interpreters that I would like to have down here, and Harmony is one of them, but Johnny, it's his code name, Johnny Walker. He also has a book out, and he has a movie that's coming out, code name Johnny Walker. And he worked very closely with a lot of the SEAL teams, West Coast and East Coast. And I tell you, those guys think the world of him. And I actually invited him to come down here. I invited Johnny Walker to come, and he did write me back. We'd spoken 4 or 5 times, and he was actually out in L.A., and they're working on the movie. So he apologized for not being able to come. But once all of that wraps up, I hope that they can. And there's another young guy that actually worked with the SEAL team with Johnny Walker, and he's young. He is in his late 20s or early 30s, and I'd love to get those Iraqi interpreters down here, because I tell you, they do some good shit over there for our guys, don't they? They have the inside.
Yeah,
I'm ready
speaking
to
of-
go watch my show.
Speaking of BB, James, the Marine with one eye, I think showed up with a pump shotgun. And we were down in the barn. He's lost his right eye. He has to shoot left-handed. And I was showing him the guns. I was like, you can get something else out of here. Is that gun left-handed? I went, yeah, it's Versamax. And that's what he shot. He shot all those
I
ducks
remember you
with
talking
your-
to him
with your
about BB
Versamax.
getting those guns.
Yeah,
So,
I was like, hey, the guy donated those. So we're done.
and Messer that sent the coffee cups, and then we had some big insulated cups that were donated down here, and so the guys got to use those for their coffee, and so we really appreciate everything that you guys do for us down here. It's appreciated. All right, let's go watch our show.
Good night, folks.
Good night, guys.